Welcome, welcome, all you savages, to a special episode of Savage Crucible. This one's a special episode because we're doing it a little different than we usually do it. We got a pre recorded one today because we got Abraham and Rubus with us. They're joining us from Greece today, all the way from Greece, so representing. For those that don't know, the Savage Crucible team is worldwide. So we have people in Australia, Germany, Greece, England. So it's a little hard to coordinate and do something live where we can have our fans join us. So we decided we can bring it to you this way, and that way we get to hear all the wonderful things that Abraham has to say for us today. So without any further ado, let's welcome Abraham to the show. Thanks you for being here so much today, Abraham. Tell us a little bit about yourself, how you got into Savage Crucible and all that.
Thank you, Stelios. It's lovely to be here, and it's a real pleasure to join you. How did I get involved? Well, we have to thank the other Greek gentleman for that, Rubus. He was basically. I'm a writer. I've been doing some comic book work in Greece, and some of that has been with Rubus. And it was a fantastic pleasure to work with him because he's a master, and I was, always in awe. So what happened was that at some point he basically calls me up and he says, "Do you want to get involved in the new thing that I've been working on?" It's like, okay. And he puts me in touch with Rob. And he doesn't tell me anything other than it's new, it's exciting, and it's secret, super hush hush. So I'm like, obviously intrigued. And then I speak to Rob, and Rob is fantastic and perfectly charming. And he lays out the Savage Crucible word for me. And I'm like, I'm in. I'm definitely in.
Mm-hmm.
That's great. That's great. And you said you did some work with Rubus. Rubus, thank you so much for being on the show with us again. We're,
It's an honor,
always
man,
happy to have you on the show.
it's always a pleasure to be here.
Yeah. Tell us a little bit about yourself, Rubus, if you want, for those that, haven't heard about you.
Well, I'm the best at what I do in Greece.
That's right.
No,
That's right.
it's okay. No. We have many talented people here who are even better than me. But as far as fantasy and epic stuff go, I'm the man.
Again, no ego.
He's not kidding. He is. It's like for years in the Greek scene, we've called him something like Big John Rubus, that kind of thing.
It's a disgrace to Big John Buscema, and I denounce it.
Well, having grown up in Greece myself in the '90s, and to relay a little bit into what Yanni is saying, in Greece, fantasy wasn't a very big thing ever. It wasn't as popular as it was here in the States. You couldn't really talk about it. A little taboo-ish from that. So Yanni actually kind of brought it up into the light for a lot of I think Greeks and all that through cinematography, comic books, all that. So
yeah, and everybody who was reading Conan when they were younger, it's like they started reading the comics of Yanis, because it's like he knew what they were on about. So it was like, so he's one of us, that.
That was what I was gonna say, that I grew up with Conan the Barbarian, and that's one of my nicknames here in Greece. I'm Rubus the Barbarian.
That's right.
Because of that, my major inspiration was Conan the Barbarian. John Buscema was one of my main influences when I started drawing, and then later on I discovered Berserk, which is my all-time favorite manga series. Probably lots of people know it. Unfortunately, we
don't
recently
find out
lost
about it.
Taramura. Yeah, and my work was greatly influenced by Roy Thomas's Conan the Barbarian, and whereas Berserk.
Nice.
So I created my own stuff inspired by these two things. Of course, we had a long history of mythology, you know, here in Greece,
Of course,
which is a paradox, you know. People in modern Greece don't really like fantasy up until Lord of the Rings came out. It's a paradox because we have so many myths and legends concerning heroes, monsters, you know, stuff like the Savage Crucible. So we fit right in with that.
That's awesome. That's awesome to hear. Well, you know, Yanis was talking a little bit about Conan. Abraham, what have been some of your inspirations? You know, you said you're a writer. What have been some of your inspirations with some of the stuff that you write and come up with?
Oh, just before you start, Abraham, I have a Conan magazine. I have a Conan magazine with Abraham's drawing in it. He was 9 years old, and I own it.
Show it. Show it. Show it. It's not true.
I have it in my hand. I can't find it right now, but I do have it.
That's wicked. Wow.
Hopefully, if he finds it, he'll post it in the group. That's so cool.
It is proof. It is proof positive, and one of the reasons why I became a writer and not an artist. I will just say that.
Fair enough. Yeah, but still, I want to see it.
Right.
I'll find it. And I'll show you.
Right on.
Yeah. So basically, influences. Yeah. I was a Conan kid. I was a Roy Thomas kid as well. You know, he influenced me. He was one of the comic book writers who influenced me tremendously, and a very unsung writer, because he made so many innovations in comic books. So another influence was horror, which also started it from 70s Marvel comics, because I was a huge fan of Tomb of Dracula, the Mark Wolfman, Gene Colan masterpiece. So I got into both fantasy and horror, you know, because of that, and then of course the movies, because I'm a huge movie buff. So those basically all fed into my becoming a writer and trying to get those influences in something new, in new stories. So it's been a constant stream of those. Yeah.
Wow. Hey, Abe, since you said you're a movie fan, can I ask, like, are you a fan of Kroll?
I knew it.
I knew it.
I am possibly one of the biggest fans of Kroll ever, because I love that movie. I've seen it a million times, and it is also unsung. And let me just say that in my local cinema when I was growing up, because lots of people loved Kroll in Greece as well. In my local cinema, there was a huge Kroll poster, and they kept that for years. You know, they would switch movies, they play other things, but they kept the Kroll poster for years. So it was like,
wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh man.
Wow, did you hear that, Rob?
All right. What? You guys smell?
Yeah.
You guys smell that? Two-pack?
Anyways.
Is that a
Right. Anyways, we shall continue. Thank you for your honest input.
Yes, that's awesome to hear. So, okay, now Rob approached you. He told you about Savage Crucible. Now you took the reins of that and just kind of went wild. So, tell us a little bit of, how much did Rob kind of, give you to work with, and then how much of it, did you kind of take off and, expand upon yourself?
Well, the amazing thing about Rob, and I want to basically put this out there, because he's possibly the best, the best there is at what he does. To quote what something that Rubus said. Um, the amazing thing about Rob is that he gives you stuff and then he lets you go free, because he basically told me you can do almost anything you want. I just want this and this and this in there, and then he just let loose the hounds, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So he's tremendous like that, because he has a vision, he has a world, he has so many fantastic things. But he says, there's a huge portion of that I can, fit to your vision if you give me a good idea. So I was like, okay, yeah, sure. So, it's the kind of words that a writer just wants to hear. It's like,
Right.
you can cut loose. So he basically gave me a canvas, huge canvas, which was like half the Sistine Chapel, and I had to basically do the other half. So it was like, yeah. So
like
it's tremendous. It's tremendous. He's the man. That's all I can. That's all I can say.
You're absolutely right when it comes to that. He absolutely shows so much respect towards all of the artists, and he gives us so much freedom to create and be a part of something that's unique. So well said, really, Abraham. That was that's a fair assessment of him, for sure.
That's a blessing when you have to do with creative people. That's a blessing, really.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
You have to
Because
know
we want
where.
No, I'm sorry to interrupt you, Yanni, but I was going to say you want that. You want that. Like you said, for somebody who is creative, and you want that creativity to flow. You can't limit it. You want to see how much of that they're going to pour into whatever it is they're working. So,
well, at some point you have to cherry pick. What things fit into your vision and what things do not. So you have to throw some things out and put some other things in. But this is a very healthy process if you want to create something beautiful, and you have to communicate it with the audience and so on. So I think Abraham here was the perfect fit for the job.
Well,
he's one of the best. He's one of the best I've ever worked with.
That's awesome.
That was really cool.
So something that we get a lot in the group and all that, Abe, and maybe you can, well, not maybe, you'll elaborate on it some more, is, everybody's saying, oh, is this guy good? Is this guy bad? Who's the good guy? Who's the bad guy? To me, the Savage Crucible world is not so much as good versus evil, but I think of it more as order versus chaos. A little bit more so in the realm of Berserk, like Yanni was saying earlier. What do you, what are your take on? What is your take on that?
Order versus chaos. I like that, and I'm going to steal it.
Do it. It is good. Yeah.
So basically, look, I absolutely agree. To be serious, I absolutely agree. It's what I like about fantasy is when fantasy goes beyond the standard definitions of like good, evil, darkness, light, etc. When it's done well, it's fantastic. I mean, everybody loves Tolkien. Everybody loves the classic Robert Howard, Conan the Barbarian, where you know who the bad guys are and who the good guys are. It's fantastic and it works. But when I was growing up and I was reading fantasy, and I'm more of a horror type of person than a fantasy type of person as a reader, I would gravitate to some people who were doing different things, like Michael Moorcock with Elric, or some of the other things that would complicate things, that would have complicated people in fantasy situations where you weren't really sure. I mean, one of the things that I loved that Rob gave me that I didn't create was Jaeger. I basically, when he told me about Jaeger, it's like there's this guy that we've created, that we want you to put him into the story that I was working on. And I was like, yeah, sure. What's he like? And he told me that was basically he was gray, and in terms of the his morality. It was like, okay, I can work with that. I can work with that in the sort of fantasy situation. And what I like doing more in fantasy is bringing other genres. It's like in the first story that Rubus and I did for Savage Crucible, we tried to do a sort of almost a gladiator, Roman epic, science fiction take on fantasy. In the second one, which you haven't seen yet, we're doing a sort of like do you remember the Guns of Navarone and that kind of movie, or that like men on a mission that have to do something really dangerous? So we try to bring that into the fantasy genre, the fantasy. So it's like, yeah.
Yes, please.
Yep. Yeah, we'll touch some more on the comic a little bit later for sure. But I totally agree. I love in fantasy when I'm able to read something or visualize something. You know, I bring Berserk up a lot, I know, because it's kind of the only series that's really has ever made me feel the way that, you know, I felt reading it. It goes through an emotional roller coaster.
Excuse me.
You'll have your jokes, you'll have your sad moments, you'll have moments where you're just like, did I really just witness? Did I really just read this? You know, did this really just happen? You know, and it's so great to kind of be bumped out of that track of like, you know, okay, here, you know, we have our protagonist and he's just heading on up. You know, it's nice to just kind of have that venture off the track moment in fantasy, and that's honestly a very captivating aspect of it for me. Rubus, what do you think about that?
About Berserk, I mean,
well, we can talk about Berserk all the time, but I was going to say, like, you know, when it comes, you know, when you are, you know, doing your artwork and all that, what do you feel? Do you want to bring more so different emotions in your drawings, you know, in your storytelling, or do you kind of like having that protagonist and, you know, that one guy that is just, you know, kind of like He-Man style, where, you know, the good guy always prevails at the end, you know, kind of thing?
well, when I write my own stuff, I'm always into the aspects of this gray area. I mean, I mostly do stuff that we have a clearly good guy like Robert Howard did, and we have a clearly bad guy. But no, the interesting things, as Abraham said before, the interesting thing is when you put them in situations that they have to question their morality.
Yes.
And that is the interesting part, you know, the tricky
Yeah.
part. When you do it right, it becomes a masterpiece. When you don't get to do it right,
right,
it might kick you off the story.
The human conscience is a very, you know, complex thing, and it's nice when you see it questioned in a story and you're kind of thinking the same to yourself, like, what would I do in this situation, you know? Or
Exactly.
You know, when you're,
and you know, having worked on the first few pages from the second, I won't spoil anything. But having worked, you'll see. It's epic. It's some epic stuff. I mean, Abraham writes things that I have to spend you know, days to draw, but eventually they're coming up really beautiful, and I like that. But you know, a very interesting aspect of this is that you have seen the Harbinger at the end of the first graphic novel, and you say, okay, he's the big bad guy. But I have loved that bastard so much in the beginning of the second graphic novel. The way he talks, the way he acts, even his silent moments, because you know, I have to play. I mean, Abraham has written that character in that way that I'm allowed to play with his eyes.
Emotions. Oh yeah,
his eyes. I mean,
right.
You can say you're. Can we curse? Can we swear?
Yeah, of course.
Absolutely.
Okay. You can say you're fucked by the way the Harbinger is looking at you, right? And that is Abraham's feat. I mean, he's one. I'm gonna keep saying that. He's one of the best writers I've ever worked with. I wanted to work with him for a long time ago, since 2004, I think, when I first met you. And we did it with Dracula Project.
Oh, wow.
And it was a great pleasure to bring him to Savage Crucible. I mean, Rob, I praise Rob for bringing him up.
I think everyone is happy that you did that.
And if
I'm going to go ahead and say I speak for everyone.
Right. And if we can expect anything we got in the first graphic novel, I mean, we know we're in for a treat for sure. So
exactly.
But actually, on the topic, yes, go ahead, Jan.
No, I want to add that he definitely knows how to write interesting characters. And a fun fact is that because of Abraham is a major cinephile, likes movies so much. One of the most fun aspects of working with him is that when he describes panels or characters, he always uses movie references. either actors or scenes or sceneries or stuff like that. I love that.
Right.
I love you, man.
That's wicked.
Internet hug.
That's a bromance right there. So some
bromance right there. That's right.
Right on. Right. That's so cool.
But on, we were speaking of the Harbinger. Tell us a little bit about him, Abe, and about, I know that, we saw a little bit, well, from seeing the figure, and then those that read the graphic novel, they see him in different stages. Corruption kind of takes place somewhere within there. So tell us a little bit about that character and, what you kind of brought to that.
Yeah.
Oh, hold on. We lost your sound there for a second. Let's see.
Oh crap!
Nothing.
Yes, we're getting good.
We're gonna shift to Rube.
Yeah.
Okay. Can we say something? Say something. Oh no, we can't hear you.
Yeah,
it's not coming through.
Damn it.
That's all right. We'll just move forward. Do you have any questions for Rubus?
Oh. Yeah, it's coming through, but it's coming through choppy, Abe.
Yeah.
Let's see, but your connection's good. I wonder why it's doing that.
All right. Well, let's just keep going.
Let's see. But I was asking Abe, corruption with the Harbinger, is that something, because we saw him in different stages. We see him, kind of normal. We see him kind of all squidded out, Cthulhu style. What's going on with that character?
So,
Abe?
All right. Okay.
Okay.
So the thing about Harbinger is that he was the chance to write someone who researches evil. He's a scholar. The first thing that came to me about Harbinger is that he's a scholar. He was basically someone who pursued that I'm going to be the most evil genius that I can be, and basically rule the world. But how does anyone go into something like that? Because it's a huge concept, and I did it through scholarship. I did it through someone who wanted to study. And so when we see him at the end of the first graphic novel, he is partly through that process of studying, of becoming, and he becomes very slowly. What he becomes is basically what's on the figure. You know, like, you know, the full bloom of that knowledge. So I wanted to catch him at that point where he's still learning, but he definitely projects the knowledge that he's someone who's basically like, you know, okay, like, I know how I can scare you. I know how I can scare everybody. So that's the kind of thing that goes in. I mean, when I write his voice, I try to bring a sense of humor, but a sense of you know, really grim humor. It's like he knows that you are weak, that you are puny, that you are nothing, and he speaks to you like that. And it's very interesting because he's like, he doesn't do it with any pleasure. He basically does it with the superiority of knowledge. So that's the kind of thing. It's like,
wow, that's really cool.
Wow, they're just
yeah.
You just, you know, just expanded on that so much. Wow, that's, you know, give me a second there to take that all.
Yeah, that's a lot to take.
Yeah.
Look at Rubus is having a stroke over there. You all right?
Yeah.
No, I'm searching for a line, which is my favorite Harbinger line from graphic novel 2.
Oh, right on. Right on. Yeah, that first.
Give him
that first issue was incredible, man. Yeah, I can't wait to see the next one. Really, you know, there's not much that keeps my attention anymore, but I'm definitely invested in this for sure.
I must say too that Savage Crucible graphic novel came at a very, very good time. Because mainstream comics, at least for me, there's nothing really interesting out there right now. There's no story that's very captivating for me. But it was great getting my hands on that Savage Crucible novel. You know, it was fresh. It was something. You know, it was kind of like a story you've seen before, but it was done in a fresh manner. So it was so nice to kind of see something that you're familiar with just done anew. You know, it was a real great take.
I don't know. It felt original.
Speaking of that,
I don't know where you're going with that, but it felt very original to me. I think that's why I enjoyed it so much, is because
I'm saying it's original, but with the Savage Crucible take. That's what I'm trying to say. It's, you know,
interesting. Interesting.
But
I think we're going to have a separate show about that conversation.
Yeah, right. But speaking of that, you know, how does the Crucible work exactly? Now, is the Crucible a universe? Is the Crucible exist with everything else?
Is it a dimension?
Is it a dimension? Yeah. How does?
Do you even want to answer those questions, Abraham?
Say that I can answer these questions, but the thing is that I can answer these questions to the limited capacity of human perception, because it's like, you know, the Crucible is not exactly something that fits human perception. If anything, and I think that was part of what happened from that first conversation I had with Rob about it, is like the Crucible is basically a petri dish. It's a petri dish where you basically have every kind of form of life, form of civilization, form of culture, and form of genre, which is very important for a writer, basically mixed and battling for survival. And the thing is that we don't know who the scientist is. We don't know who basically has created the petri dish.
Right,
so, and I really don't know the answer to that question right now. So, even if you sort of like pressure me, I can't answer you that. But the thing is that I like that mysterious aspect, because it reminded me a lot of 2001: A Space Odyssey, where you have the monolith, but you don't know who made the monolith. You don't know who's at the room at the end of the universe. And but you see the monolith and you see the exciting stuff of it that it can do. And that's what the Crucible is. It's a planet that basically operates as a giant petri dish of genre. So yeah.
Awesome.
Love it.
Now,
No, and I found the line. I found the line, and it's the most harbinger line.
lay it on us.
I seek the gods themselves.
Mm-hmm.
That's a harbinger line. It's my favorite, man.
Makes
I think
sense.
that's a good. Yeah, I think that's a great way to define who he is. You just say that line, you're like,
Right.
oh, he's a bad mother. Woo! Right.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
But speaking of like the grand creator of the Crucible universe, is that like the portals? Is that something that is controllable? Is that something that was created when the world was created, when the Crucible world was created, or is that people kind of
Are
manipulated?
these your
it?
questions or these fan questions?
No, these are my questions.
Why don't we answer some fan questions? Still?
Well, these will lead into the fan questions.
Mm-hmm.
But
Mm-hmm. Stell's writing a book.
you broke. Yeah,
Well,
you
we'll
broke
get to
my
everybody
concentration
else.
there. Yeah, so the portals are, of course there's people that can manipulate them, but give us a little bit of a take, because portals to me is like Diablo 2, town portal womp kind of thing, like so. But give us how portals work in the Crucible.
Unpredictably, that's the thing. It's like they can do anything at any time, but when you were saying before about order and chaos has a certain manner of doing things according to its own order. So you don't really know. It's something that looks unpredictable, something that looks random, may not be random. I mean, I don't want to be deliberately mysterious here, but that's what's going on with those portals. It's like they operate unpredictably, but there may be a design to this that we simply cannot understand. And certainly nobody on the Crucible can understand this. I think the Harbinger suspects, or the Harbinger wants to find out, but maybe he doesn't.
Wow.
Well, that just has more questions tagged on.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
awesome.
like,
that was a great freaking question, Stell. All you did was just make me have more questions. Thanks a lot. Read some fan questions, will you bastard? And thanks a lot, Abraham. Jeez,
yeah, right.
Now I'm
tortured. With Wave 1,
I'll be deep thought into this for months.
Oh yeah. Yeah, we'll be talking some more behind the scenes, I guess. But Wave 1, we get our Lemurians, we get our lizard people. Give us a little bit of what you kind of thought about when creating the characters. I know you wrote some bios too, for I believe for Nin and Como. So what was your whole thought on those characters?
Obviously, the visuals are awesome, and if you like the bios, there's definitely because the visuals inspired something good out of them. The thing is that when you see a cool visual and you don't know the story behind it, you don't know the story of the character, and you have to actually create it for yourself, it's a huge challenge because you don't want to go cliche. You don't want to to wrong that character. And so I would go deep into the the well of inspiration, whatever that is, and I would try to bring out something that would do justice to the character. For Como, for instance, I was thinking of something in terms of he's a tragic person with a tragic history. And he wants to make something out of that tragedy. So, and I wanted to, okay, what would be the story of the man with no name from the Clint Eastwood movies if we saw the story of the man with no name from the Clint Eastwood movies? That's what Como is for me. You know, if you want to see that in movie terms, it's like you have the chance to create a backstory for, you know, a badass who is like, he comes, he eats, and he leaves. You know, that's the kind of thing that Como does. So you know, it's the kind of, I think I went up with the process for all the bios and again, Rob gave me a completely free hand. He basically said, you know, these are the visuals. Do what you like. If I don't like it, I will tell you. But he never has. So yeah, it's like
Nice. Weather conditions. Now, does the Crucible have seasons and all that in the world? Do you know? Yeah, seasons, all that. For the
yes.
Lemurian.
Yes, because seasons are great for atmosphere. So it's like, yeah, I can set something in winter, or I can set something, you know, in desert conditions, or you know, whatever. But like everything on the Crucible, it's unpredictable. So you don't really know. It's like it doesn't operate with Earth terms, man. You know, that's the
Right.
thing. It's like it's something that, I mean, okay, when I do comics, when I have someone like Rubus to do the drawings, I know I have an unlimited budget. I know I can do something like, you know, it's like, yeah. So that's why I put him through the ringer, because I created a scene that's basically like, you know, it's like, yeah, there's like only 1,000,000 extras in that scene, and I
Right.
know that I'm asking something that can't be done, but I know that Rubus is so good an artist that he can actually fool the eye into thinking that they're seeing 1,000,000 extras. So
hmm
yeah, that's the kind of thing we're going with.
It's great to see the chemistry that you guys have. You know, you guys like build off of each other, and it definitely shows in the work too. So you know, it's a good pair to have you guys together. um, Now, as far as you know, now we saw the Lemurians graphic novel one, volume one. You know, one of them is like just taking a fat chunk out of this one person. Are Lemurians cannibals, or is there, you know, like as far as dietary stuff, you know, are they strictly just, you know, eating humans, or
Okay,
is
okay.
Como like, you know, a pescatarian?
I would I would not call them cannibals in the strictest sense, because, you know, I would call cannibal someone who basically feeds only on their own species. You know,
Right,
that's the kind of thing.
right,
I would
right.
say that the Lemurians are actually more, you know, um, well, they eat everything. But by
Mm,
the way, so do humans. Humans can eat anything. That they don't is a choice of civilization, not a choice of
right,
biology. Okay,
right.
let's be perfectly honest about that. So the Murians are basically humans without the civilization. So they would go and they would do the extreme stuff that we have, you know, supposedly left behind. You know, that kind of thing, that kind of situation. So yeah, then when they take out a huge chunk, it's something more animalistic, something that more
Mm,
like our, you know, our ape ancestors would do. But you know, that's the kind of thing
hmm
that goes on with the movies.
Makes
Plus,
sense.
also, when I have Rubus drawing it, I would definitely have him
Yeah.
draw someone take a huge bite out of something.
hmm No, the illustrations have been great. Trust me. That's you know. Now, do all the characters we have seen so far in the Kickstarter in Wave One, Two, and Three, are all those characters simultaneously coexisting in the world? Maybe not together at the same time, but like at some different parts of the world.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. There's a, I would say there's a loose connectivity. I sort of know where someone is at that time when I'm writing the story that doesn't appear in the story. because I'm trying to keep that in mind for the future. Because there's things going on in the future that we can't talk about, but obviously there's plans. So part of that plan is basically, some people meeting, some people, who haven't met so far meeting, etc., etc., etc. So yeah.
Right. Wow. Well, with that, also, now you're saying the Crucible, when we're talking about portals and different times, as far as the time periods, all that, do you think, where was I going with this? Totally lost my train of thought. Do you think that, oh, look at this now. With the different, yes, this is where I was going with this. With different time periods and all that, now in the Crucible, there exists, I guess, parts of technology, parts are a little more primitive. So, how does machinery kind of work, or is machinery even a thing in the Crucible? Like, is it more so steampunkish? Is it more so maybe magically connected? How do you see that?
Well, both science and magic exist in the Crucible world. It's because of the different cultures that have been, mixing and interacting and portaled over. The thing is, however, that some of the things that we would take as science, some other people, some other cultures would receive as magic. And some of the things that we would consider magic is possibly a higher form of science. I mean, we do that a lot in the second graphic novel, where we basically have a technological artifact that has supernatural, manifestations. That's all I can say. But,
Wow.
Bastards.
This is great. This is great stuff. Rubus, too. When you're drawing these things, do you want an aspect of that to be shown? Do you want to show kind of more of a decrepit landscape, or show machinery kind of mixed in there? I know in the first graphic novel was more so gladiator-esque based, so we didn't get to see too much of the outside. We kind of focused in the arena, but is that something that we can expect in the second graphic novel?
Definitely. Well, being a huge fan of and growing up with He-Man and the Masters of the Universe, I'm a huge fan of mixing fantasy aspects with science elements.
Yeah.
And again, when done right, it's. But since we have so many IPs doing that, we have to be unique. And I believe Abraham has created something, with the second graphic novel, which allow us to explore this aspect. The combo of magic and science. I'm also a sucker for magical swords, so at the first chance I have.
I love magical items.
Oh yeah.
Give me a plus something
all
to
that jazz.
like lock picking, or I'll take it all day long.
Blame D&D for that. I love magical swords. When I first started working with Rob, that's how we began our relationship. When he was making, he was printing those weapons and stuff, third-party stuff. I think the first thing I drew was they were a couple of swords, a good one and a bad one, I think. Something like that. And then axes. And in my mind, they were all magical. I give them names I don't care if
Yeah.
if they're going to be if Rob is going to keep them or not, but
Right.
I'm just having
right.
fun with giving names to the weapons. So for me, they're magical. Okay.
That's right. A sword with a name has a purpose. That's what they say.
Yep.
Exactly. Yeah.
And now a new door of bugging Rob has just opened. Rob, what's the name of all these weapons?
No, Rob, how can we how can we add light effects to the swords? No. Look at Abe. Abe's like, ooh, that's a good idea. No.
I mean, at some point we have to because we never named the sword for I think it's wave 2 with the Who-Man.
Oh, right.
And I have him wielding a sword which is not in the comic book. It's not in the graphic novel. In the cover there's a sword wielding, and that sword is coming with a figure as well. But that sword doesn't have a name. We have to give it a name now because it's coming with a figure, and it's magical, right?
That's awesome, guys. Yep.
I'm a firm believer in magic swords, and I'm a firm believer in everything. Every character, every sword should have a name. The magic swords is definitely a thing because it's like magic is tricky. You think that it's evil where it might have a deeper purpose, and you think that it might be good, that it may be evil underneath. So you don't really know. I mean, what a writer once said that magic is change. So if magic is change, it can change, towards one side or towards the other, and that is chaotic, and that is definitely what the swords would represent. So I really dig that kind of aspect in the magic swords. And as about names has to go, it's like one of my favorite thing was something like a famous screenwriter said, I think it was William Goldman. He basically said that, you have to name every character, even if it's a cameo character that basically, has no speaking lines or whatever. Because if you name them, you give them a personality. And the actor who's going to, incarnate that character, he will definitely be grateful to you for life for not making them play God number one. You know what I mean?
No, it's very true, and actually, it's funny you mentioned that because I was watching the 1985, I believe, Vampire Hunter D, and they talk about the great ancestor, and you see a picture of him, like, in a frame, but you never actually see or you never learn more about him other than that, So he exists, he's a big aspect of the story. But that's there's no continuation or build up to it. So I totally agree with what you're saying, Abe. But I mean we've teased everybody a while now for the
I know
comic.
we've talked about this for
right. I guess
what feels like ages. Yeah,
should we show them a little bit?
Yeah, fuck it. I want to see.
Yeah, all right. I guess we can show you guys.
Yeah.
All right.
Just one.
So
all right, maybe another one after this.
Yeah, right. Yeah, so this Yanni, tell us a little bit about what we're seeing here. Not too much, a little bit.
Yeah, okay. That's the first page of the second graphic novel. Second graphic novel is called A Taste of the Abyss.
Yum. Did you now? Can I just ask something real quick?
Yeah.
Did you guys remove the caption bubbles for this, or is this I think it's silent scene?
Yeah,
it's a silent scene.
Because I was gonna say I understand everything that's going on without a word.
Yeah. No, me too. I'm just curious.
The beauty of them.
Shout out to Maya Opasic. She's our colorist.
Thank you, Maya.
She's doing a great job. I'm very happy we have her on board. She's from Serbia, and as she progresses too, she's doing wonderful things. And since I'm doing the lettering myself, when you have dialogue and bubbles and stuff, you will see them there. So now it's just a silent scene. And a huge inspiration is I bet your inspiration to Abraham is Larry Hama from when he was doing G.I. Joe. Remember that silent issue with Snake Eyes, and that issue is a masterpiece to study when you need to do silent scenes.
Oh,
it's
yeah.
A masterpiece.
Oh, yeah.
Masterpiece.
Oh yeah, definitely killer issue. This is amazing. This is amazing, guys. Thank you.
We can. Page 2. Oh, I guess we get page 2 too. Oh. Wham!
And there's your boy right there doing his stuff.
Jaeger's such a gentleman. Look at him. He's like.
And as you can see, we have some new guys over there. Those guys are. I don't believe we have mentioned them, Abraham. Do we?
No.
I mean, this. What?
Well, go on, mention them.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we're waiting.
Those first 2 pages take place in the Jedi. Not the Jedi. The Jade Eye Empire.
Wow.
Exactly.
Which is basically one huge superpower in the Crucible. It's an actual empire, and it's basically, I don't know how I can describe this, but I try to imagine something like the ancient Mongol or Chinese empires, basically transposed in a sort of a science fictional setting, and that was Rob's vision, and I basically run away with that and try to basically put anything like, so the guards are basically a bit like the stone guards that you can see in the
yeah, totally.
Yeah, exactly. So I try to bring those guys to life, and I try to do this in a sort of way that they would be awesome, mysterious, and fit the silent scene, because in the silent scene basically is what you see. And the cameo, basically, from Jaeger, it's I remember when I wrote the script, I basically told Rubus, imagine that we are the character, the female character that we see. I think we can sort of reveal part of her name. Her first name is Volpe. So we see Volpe, and it's like, okay, imagine what happens when she goes to the back of that cart and she sees Jaeger. And basically, we are her, and we get wham, in the face with a crossbow. So that's the situation. I wanted the element of surprise, and obviously because it was Jaeger, I wanted his first appearance to be a real sort of like pleasure and a joy and a twist.
It makes an impression.
Honestly, great stuff.
Yeah, this is incredible.
Rubus, anything you want to add to this?
No, I don't think so. Abraham covered me.
It's great as is, and I agree.
Maybe you can show the first page again to have a full glimpse of the Jade Eye soldiers.
Yes.
That eye is really.
I was gonna say when I saw these,
Jade.
you can definitely see the inspiration that you're talking about, like the Jade soldiers, Chinese-esque armor. Real good stuff. Real good stuff.
And I tried to do, to draw the guillotine at some point, so that it won't resemble, our world guillotines. I had to do something. So I tried to make it curvy.
Yeah. Yeah, we don't want that French Revolution stuff. We
Yeah.
want the
Yeah.
yeah.
That guillotine has a name. That guillotine has a name. You remember what we're talking about? Names of swords. You actually get to find out the guillotine's name in the comic, in the graphic
Oh
novel.
wow! Oh wow!
It's a
I
popular
like.
guillotine.
Is it Gilly? Okay, no, I don't want any
No,
spoilers.
no. It's Bob.
Yeah, it's Billy Baloney.
Yeah.
We have to make a backstory for the guillotine and make it magical.
Yes. Yeah.
I like the eyes.
What is it? Issue
on the,
0.
Wait! Look at the eyes on the structure.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's
they're all
so
over the place. So there's
cool.
definitely. I'm guessing that's probably like a signia, like a symbol for this empire.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Oh, the
Yep.
jade eye is
Mhm.
okay.
Yeah.
Right on.
Yep.
That's
Oh,
awesome.
and
Yeah,
I have to add, remember when I told you that Abraham is always referencing actors and stuff to help me, have
Yeah.
visualize. Well,
Give it to us.
as you can probably imagine, our protagonist has some elements of Pam Grier, 70s Pam Grier.
I love it.
So there you go. Of
Yes.
course, she's a little bit buffed.
Yeah, I know.
I love it.
I own Foxy Brown and coffee. So yeah,
There you go.
yeah, yeah. I love
Awesome.
Pam. I've always been. She was like my. You know how like people are like, oh, I grew up with Raquel Welch on my wall, or I had a poster of Pam Grier. Mm.
Mm-mm.
We got you there.
Yeah.
That is a fine woman, let me say. Anyways.
Agreed.
Well, guys, that's it for questions right now. Thank you again so much for tuning in with us, being here. I know it's late for you guys over there. So again, thank you for being here with us.
Thank you so much, you guys. Is there anything else you guys want to
Yeah.
add? Hang on.
Yeah.
Is there
I was going to
anything
say, I
you
know
guys
that
wanna add?
I know a lot of your guys' work is probably in Greek, but if you guys have any type of, work that you want to put out there for people to, maybe get or read.
Go and check out.
Abe?
Well, yeah, I'm doing. I write a lot of stuff. I write horror fiction, and I also write some crime fiction. A lot of my crime fiction actually is in English because I'm doing it for a publishing house in the UK. So if you are into, let's say, 1970s sleazy 70s set crime novels, you can actually look me up on the online, and I will probably have a good time. Yeah.
Nice. And look you up by your name, Abraham Kawa. Just
yes, Abraham Kawa. That's the name. So yeah.
Nice. Yanni.
Cool. Well, now I'm a publisher here in Greece as well. So I did that so I could publish my own stuff because nobody else wanted me. No. That's a joke. That's a joke.
That's a lie right there. He went from having a massive ego to telling lies.
Yeah. He went from I'm the best at what I do to
He basically just wants to be the Stan Lee of Greece. That's the ambition. That's the.
He said no.
No. George Lucas, maybe, but not Stan.
No.
Kidding aside, we have lots of talent here. And I try to, put my little stone in the Greek community to make something beautiful and give opportunities to other people like me.
That's the best part.
That
opportunity to
I know lots of artists here. We're friends other than colleagues, and we're trying to show the world what we can do. So at some point this year, we're going to have some of our books translated in English.
Yeah.
They're probably going to be available through our eShop in PDF files. We might publish some physical copies too, but we're working on it. As you know, shipping costs are coming from hell. So, so we don't know, but we're working on it. We'll see. We'll see how it's done. And the first work we're going to have in English is probably my book Mythomachus,
Nice.
which is an ancient Greek warrior. It's something like Witcher meets the Highlander. It's something like that. It has monsters, stuff.
Sure.
I might convince Rob to turn him into a figure as well.
Oh, that would be cool. That would be.
We'll see.
All three of us will. No, actually, no. Include Tim too. All four of us.
Yeah,
will.
yeah. We'll have that talk about Kroll too. Right.
Yeah. We'll see. I hope you guys like it. We'll see how it goes.
Awesome.
Right awesome.
Thank you.
Our publishing house is Nerdula Creative Lab.
Nerdula Creative Lab. So look them up, guys, if you want to check out any work. Thank you guys again.
Wait, Abe, what were you just saying?
Yes, Abe, what were you saying?
Mythomachus, and it's great. So trust me, when you read it in English, you will definitely see the passion that Rubus has basically put in it. So it's fantastic.
Right.
It's awesome. And he's got 2 volumes out of that. So, and hopefully a third coming very soon as well. So,
well, couldn't you just do a reading for us, Stel? Like just do
I could,
video.
I'll get a nice mahogany chair. I'll sit by the
fireplace. Pipe.
Yeah.
You know what? I would pay to see that. I would pay to see that.
I'll do it. I got my robe. I'll put my slippers.
He'll even wear a robe.
I'll go the whole 9 yards. But yes, thank you guys. And I hope that in one of these conventions, we can have you guys join us here in the States. I know that would take a lot. I know that you guys have, your families and all that, and it's understandable, but we would love to have, we would love to do an event where, everybody from Savage Crucible gets together, but
me too.
We pray for that one day, but for now, these video chats are the best that we got, and I'm super happy that we do these and get to talk to you guys. So
I'm super happy we have you two. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
No, thank you for having us there.
Well, I was thanking you for what you do, because now I've got so many questions that
Hold on to those. Yeah, I know, right? He gave me that. I'm like, you didn't answer anything. You just made more. Exactly.
My head's just like a whirlwind of more and more questions now.
Well, guys, it's either that or spoilers. What do you want?
No.
I think we spoiled enough. We'll
there you go.
Let's save a little for later if it is. We don't.
Yeah. We'll say later, meaning as soon as we get this, and then we have.
That's why I love
we continue the after chat. I'm not waiting. I'm not fucking waiting.
Right.
Kidding.
All right, guys.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you again, and thank you everybody for tuning in, or whoever watches this. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, guys.
Stay savage, and Rob, your comb over looked great today.
Yes.